Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today our topic is dynamic trunking protocol that is called DTP. Basically, DTP is a Cisco property and it is used to create the trunk link dynamically in between two different switches or two or more different switches. By the help of that trunk link, we can forward the multiple VLAN information. Now, what is the purpose of DTP? Basically, DTP simplifies the process of setting up the trunk link by dynamically negotiating the trunk link between the two different switches. Now, let me discuss about what is the meaning of this negotiation. Okay, so if I closely observe this diagram there, this network, so there are two different switches. Okay, switch 0 and switch 1. There, the mode of interfaces is called the administrative mode. These two modes is called administrative mode, and by default all the interfaces are in dynamic auto mode. That is means FA0/1 and FA0/1 on both of these switches is in dynamic auto mode, right? By default. And the combination of these two is static access. That is why multiple VLAN information cannot be forwarded through this link because this is in static access mode. Whenever I will change, I'm changing the mode on one side only. On a single switch from dynamic auto to trunk, I'm only changing the mode one side, not on other side, but only a single side. I'm changing the mode from dynamic auto to the trunk. The operational mode or the link will be automatically become the trunk link. The operational mode or the link mode is will be automatically become the trunk link. That is happened because of what? Dynamic trunking protocol. That is means on one side configuration, other side will be automatically done. How it is done? A negotiation message will be forwarded, a DTP message will be forwarded initiated by the trunk side to the dynamic auto, and dynamic auto will accept the negotiation. Let's do this practically. Okay, let us assume we have a network like this. In these three switches are there, and these three switches are connected to three pieces of VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. Okay, on these we already have configured the VLAN part. Now, what has happened that by default all the interfaces of all the switches are in dynamic auto mode, right? They all are in dynamic auto mode, and the link mode is what? Static access. If you want to verify this, just go to any switch and put a command. What? The command can be show interface FA0/1 switch port. So it is showing that the operational mode, the link mode is static access, and the interface mode is what? Dynamic auto. Okay. Now I will change the mode of middle switch interfaces to the trunk mode. If these two will be the trunk mode, then both of these links will be automatically turned to what? The trunk mode. Okay, let me change the configuration to the trunk on only the middle switch. Okay, I will create this trunk and I will also change the mode to the trunk. And by changing these two, this static axis and static axis will be automatically converted to what? Trunk. Okay, how it will be done? Let's do the configuration. Okay, how we can configure the trunk on any interface? So let me change the mode of interfaces. So dear all, there are two different switches. So I will go to global configuration mode and select both the interfaces at the same time. Interface range FA0/1 and 2, right? And switchboard mode trunk. This is the only command that is used to change the mode. After some time, the mode will be automatically changed. Let me fast forward this. Okay. Now, whenever I will go to the interfaces and will ask what is your mode, so it will answer me show interface FA0/1 switch port. It answering me that the administrative mode is trunk and the operational mode is still is trunk. That is means the link will become trunk and this interface is trunk. That is means by changing the mode on one side, other side will be automatically changed to the trunk link. Okay. So this is called the possible combination of DTP. So it will less or it will easy our configuration We don't need to configure on other two switches. By configuring only middle switch in switch, we can do the configuration. Okay, it will be ease to our configuration part. Now, let me try to forward some data. Okay, to verify that is the encapsulation, is the data forwarding is working or not. I will go to PC and put an IP address 192.168.10.1. You can see an ARP will be generated, will be forwarded to the switch, and switch is forwarding the data to the VLAN 2 only. That is means my trunk link is working properly. Okay, let's get back to the sheet again, to the slide. Okay, dear. Now, if I talk about the possible combination of DTP and what are the what are the number of modes of DTP? If I talk about the interface modes, there can be four different interface modes, dear. Dynamic auto is by default enabled, right? Trunk we have forcefully done, right? Access is forcefully a non-trunking link, non-trunking interface, and dynamic desirable is actively attempt to convert the trunk link. So there are four modes: dynamic auto, dynamic and trunk. Dynamic desirable and trunk modes are actively negotiate with the DTP, right? They initiate the DTP process basically. Trunk and dynamic desirable initiate the DTP process, and dynamic auto somehow negotiate with these. Okay. We also have a list of possible combination. Now, what is the meaning of operational mode? By the combination of these two modes, the operational mode will be formed. Either it will be trunk mode or static mode, right? So that it means the mode of interface is called the administrative mode, and mode of link is called the operational mode. Let us see what are the possible combination of DTP. Dear, if one side on one interface we have access and other interface we have access, then there will be no trunk. That is mean no multiple VLAN information can be forwarded. If one side we have access, other side we have trunk, there will be no VLAN information can be forwarded. No multiple VLAN information can be forwarded. That is means if any side we have access mode and other side any mode can be there, the combination will be static access. That is means no multiple VLAN information can be forwarded. Dynamic auto and dynamic auto, this is by default configuration on the switches, that is also static access. That is means no multiple VLAN information can be forwarded. Now, let's discuss about trunk plus trunk. So if one side we have trunk, other side we have trunk, the combination will become trunk. Trunk will be actively negotiate with dynamic auto. Trunk and dynamic desirable will also be negotiate to form the trunk link. Dynamic auto and dynamic desirable will also create the trunk link. Dynamic desirable and dynamic desirable will be actively negotiate, and form the they will form the trunk link, right? So these are the five possible combination on which you can create the trunk link dynamically. Okay. Now let's move forward to the next one. So dear, there is something called encapsulation. What is the meaning of encapsulation? Like dear, we have generated some data on VLAN 2, and I'm forwarding that data to the switch. Switch will forward that data to another switch, and then it will be forwarded to VLAN 2. That is means VLAN 2 data will be forwarded to the VLAN 2. How it will be done? Dear, it will automatically add an encapsulation that is called additional information with data. The the meaning of encapsulation is what? Adding some useful information with the existing data is called encapsulation. So, with the data, an encapsulation or tagging of VLAN 2 will be automatically added that this data came from VLAN 2 and must be forwarded to where? VLAN 2. So, dear, this is called encapsulation process. That is means adding the useful VLAN information to the existing data that has to be forwarded through the link. Okay. Now, dear all, there are two types of combination. There are two types of encapsulation. First one is 802.1q, IEEE dot 802.1q. Dear, this is open source basically. It takes 4 bytes of data. That is means this information in case of dot 1q, in case of dot 1q, this information will be of the size 4 bytes only. In case of ISL encapsulation, that is open source, this encapsulation, this addition of information will take only 4 byte. In case of dot 1q, it will only use the 4 bytes of data to add this encapsulation. If I talk about ISL, in case of ISL, it will add a total 26 byte plus 4 bytes of CRC. That is means 30 byte of data will be used to add this information. Dear, you can observe that on both of these encapsulation, only VLAN to the VLAN number is added with the existing data. But one method is using only 4 byte, other method is using what? 26 bytes. So this is faster. Dot 1q is using lesser number of data, lesser number of bytes as compared to what? ISL. And ISL is a Cisco property, but still Cisco device is not using this because this is slower protocol. Dot 1q is a faster method to use to do the encapsulation. So now, if I talk about 802.1q, so it is a 4 byte of VLAN tag data, right? If I talk about ISL, it is 26 plus 4 byte of data, total 30 bytes of data. That is why currently we are using 802.1q. If you want to practically see that, just go to switch, and whenever just put a command show interface switch port, you can see that it is automatically using the .1q encapsulation. 802.1q already mentioned here. That is means by default 802.1q enabled because this is somehow a faster process. Okay. Now let's get back to this to the configuration. So this is their configuration part that I already have done. First of all, select the interface, select the encapsulation by the command interface trunk encapsulation 802.1q. Then the single line of command switchboard mode trunk. Here you can change from trunk to switchboard mode dynamic desirable. So these are the configuration that can also be done. Switchboard mode dynamic switchboard mode dynamic auto or switchboard mode access. So these are all. You can also change the mode by these commands. If you don't want to create the trunk, you want to create the dynamic desirable, that will also behave as same in same as trunk side, right? So this is how the configuration of the DTP will be done. Let's get back to our practical session here. If I want to change the mode to dynamic desirable here, let me go to this switch and select the interfaces configuring terminal interface range FA0 slash 1 and 2, right? Switchboard mode, then it will give me three choice dynamic, access or trunk. I will put dynamic here. Dynamic, then desirable. I have changed the mode to dynamic desirable. Let's see what will happen in that case. Okay. So dear, I will go to switch and again ask the question what is the current status. It will answer me that the mode is dynamic desirable on the interface, but the operational mode is what? Trunk. That is means if you will configure the dynamic desirable here, it will also behave as the trunk. Dynamic desirable but dynamic auto will be equal to what? Trunk. So these are the possible combination of DTP. On one side configuration, other side will be automatically changed. So dear all, that is all about DTP. If you have any confusion with DTP, dear all, please ask me in the comment section and have a nice day.